guys, Ken here. You're a Thrifty Apprentice. Happy Sunday, everyone. Today's video, we are doing week 3 of Thrifty Pastel month, and the prompt for today is fall. So we are going to be doing something a little different. So as you guys know, in the first for the first week we use oil pastels. For the second week we use watercolor pastels or crayons. And this week I wanted to use oil pastels again, but this time I decided to use water soluble oil pastels. And they are different from watercolor crayons or watercolor pastels in the fact that they do have more of an oil content. They do perform and give you more of an oil effect, oil pastel effect. Kids in the background playing outside, they sound like they're having fun, guys. So I was really excited about it. Now, of course, you guys have seen me use these before in a video somewhere here or there. And I may have shown you some other work that I've done with them in the background. And I wanted to just show you a different way that I use these. Now, for the prompt, what was the prompt? Time. The prompt is time. I'm not sure what I said it was earlier, but the prompt is time. And I decided to go with nighttime. Yeah, I know, pretty lame maybe, but you guys know I love nighttime. I love painting things that are in a night atmosphere. So we are going to be using oil pastels, and I'll be doing something a little with the water soluble pastels. So first things first, we're going to swatch them in the pastel swatch book that I made for this particular challenge. And we've done the what are these? These are the Master's Touch Fine Art Studio Premium Soft Oil Pastel, which I believe is white labeled by Mungia. So if you have the Mungia pastels, they're pretty much the exact same thing. These are the Sargent Art Watercolor Crayons or Watercolor Pastels, which is an alternative that I wanted to try out, other than try out to the Caran d'Ache watercolor crayons or watercolor pastels, is that what you want to call them, which are one of my favorite mediums. So here we swatched those out, and I actually think that these performed really well. So what we're going to do now is jump into the swatching of the Mungia Aquarelle Oil Pastel Extra Soft Water Soluble. We're going to get them swatched out, then I'll jump right directly into doing the demo for this week's prompt. So I'm going to start out by swatching the water-soluble oil pastels in the journal that I created and bound from the Creative Mark Universal Mixed Media paper. This is the same paper that I used to bind and make that Inktober journal with. And I've also done a review on it, which I'll link in case you guys want to see it. So this set, of course, has 24 colors in it, and I chose to swatch the colors out in the order that they are printed on the inside of the lid for this set. Now, the pastels are super, super creamy going down. I cannot even express how soft they were. And as you can see, as you blend them out, they are so beautiful and opaque. The color just pops off the page. It's so vibrant and bright. I've always loved this set, and they've been on my recommended list for quite some time. And I was really happy to be using them again. Now, of course, the difference between the water-soluble oil pastel and a watercolor pastel or a watercolor crayon, if that's what you would like to call it, is that watercolor crayons are all wax, whereas a water-soluble oil pastel is made up of basically the same things that a regular oil pastel is made up of, with the exception that it has a binder that allows it to be blended with water. But you can use standard oil pastel blending techniques with them, and I'm going to be showing you guys a little bit of that once we actually get to the demo section of this video. One thing I do want to throw out if you happen to use these, or if these are something that you're interested in as you blend them out, just like with watercolor crayons, you want to use as little water on the brush as you can, just enough that it takes to blend each color out, because too much water will cause it to wash away, or it could lift pigment. So that's just something to keep in mind if this is a medium that you think you may want to give a try. So I'm going to blend the rest of these out, and then I'll see you guys on the other side. That swatching went pretty well. Now, I've actually swatched these before. I have no idea where it is. But I really did enjoy swatching them on this paper. It They're really creamy and smooth, and I wish I've used them more. I really do. So as you can see, I did go ahead and label them based on color, name, and I just took that information from the inside of the box. And as I told you, as I was swatching, I just kind of swatched them in the color order that is listed here, and then wrote a header. I think I may do the same thing to this page that I did with the oil pastel swatches, just to make sure. I'm not sure if if there will be any residue that'll transfer to the other page, so I'm going to wrap that in a protective sleeve just to be sure. So now I'm going to jump into doing a demo with these, and then I'm going to wrap all of this on up. We're jumping in here, painting on our Canson Graduate Mixed Media paper as usual for Thrifty Pastel Month. And I'm going to start off with 3 shades of blue in the sky. I am using the Prussian blue, the sky blue, and the light blue, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I was testing there to see if I could possibly blend them like I do a normal oil pastel, and I saw that it would work. So I thought to myself, what I'll do is I will blend out the first layer with water just to make sure that I'm covering the tooth, and then I would go back in with the second layer and blend it out like you do a traditional oil pastel. I think that these worked in a really nice combination, and it calls for some really good covering of the tooth, and it calls for really good blending. So instead of using the Prussian blue at the top again, I covered the midsection all the way up to the top of the sky with that that might have been cobalt blue, if I'm not mistaken, and blended it down into the sky blue that I used. And now I'm going to mix in a little white just to lighten up some areas. And now I'm painting in this really dramatic cloud scene that's going to be behind the mountains. This is a different way of trying pastels for me, especially with the water-soluble versions. So I'm taking a very lightly damp brush and kind of blending that pigment out a little bit. Then I'm going to go back in with some bleed-proof white, just covering the highlighted part of the cloud, right around the top, just trying to make them look fluffy. Again, I was going for really dramatic here. And tap a little bit of that bleed-proof out on the tape to lighten it up, and then I use that to kind of fill in the rest of the cloud area. Now I'm going in with a black, what is this? Color Soft. This is a Durant Color Soft. I'm going in with a black Color Soft, super soft pencil. It allows you to lay the pigment down on top of other media really well because it's so soft. But the thing about these pastels is that once I started to combine the color pencil into it, it would scratch up the pastel. That's why you see me continue to move the board. I'm kind of brushing off the pastel that I was scratching up with the pencil. So I'm bringing those colors down into the water now after removing the horizon tape line. And I'm going to do the same thing. I put down the sky blue first, blended it out into the cobalt with a little bit of the Prussian, took water, blended that layer out. Now I'm going back in with the second layer, which I'm going to blend out like a traditional oil pastel. I'm telling you, if you've never tried this, try it, especially if you kind of want the best of both worlds, excuse me. So I blended in a little white there. I really love this because I'm getting sort of the watercolor pastel crayon feel with the traditional oil pastel feel, and I can blend it both ways with my finger or with water, possibly even with like a cloth or one of those, what are those, blending stumps, I think they are. I'm pretty sure it's any way you could blend a traditional oil pastel, you could, but I like using my finger, and this paper actually made it really easy for that. I mean, it's not a really toothy paper, but it has enough tooth to do quite a few medias on, from what I've discovered. So I took an indigo blue pencil and added some depth to the water after painting in a few, or I'm sorry, coloring in a few other little land masks. Going in with bleed proof to add in the moon reflections, the water lines around each of the little land masks, the breaks of shimmer in the water, the highlights on all of the land masses, the mountains in the back. And then I decided that I needed something else because it wasn't enough, of course. So I went in with the black pencil and put a few birds in the sky after covering the moon with a second layer of bleed proof, just to make sure that it was very, very, very bright and vibrant. I'm going to hit those birds with a little of the highlighting bleed proof, and then I'm going to remove the tape because that's going to wrap up this prompt, which was time. I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. It turned out to be really cool. I like the way it looks. I really like using pastels. I didn't know, and that's why I wanted to do this challenge. I really wanted to challenge myself throughout the month to see if this was a medium that I really wanted to give a gusto and stick to, and it really is, and it comes in so many different varieties and variations. Now we do have one other prompt to get through, which I believe is chocolate, week 4's prompt, so we'll be tackling that on next Sunday. Thank you guys so much for joining me here for another Thrifty Pastel video. If you saw, heard, picked up on anything that you like, or just enjoyed hanging out for another painting, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel or returning and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscription button and then hit that notification bell so that you'll know when all the new content comes out. Guys, jump in the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking of Thrifty Pastel Month. Are you doing any pastel paintings? Are you posting any on Instagram? Because that's where all of this is being hosted. I really hope you guys are participating. It would be so much fun to see other people's artwork and how they're handling the pastels. Share the video. Sharing is caring, and maybe someone else will love to participate in Thrifty Pastel Month. You can check out the video description for all of the relevant links, and that's going to be the Facebook group, the most recommended product list, which I do have the holiday gift guide coming out really soon, guys, so y'all stay tuned for that. You can get the link for the Etsy as well as Patreon in case you decide that you want to support the channel. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I couldn't get that out. Support the channel so that I can continue to do things like this. Again, thank you guys so much. And remember, as I tell you at the end of every single video, just keep painting and crafting.